So, generative AI, it's not just a buzzword anymore, it's walking right into classrooms across the UK. And to help everyone navigate this brand new world, the government has just released its official guidance for schools. Okay, so let's dive into this and figure out what it all means.
I mean, just think about that for a second. It's a massive question with some pretty huge implications. For teachers, it could mean waving goodbye to hours and hours of admin. But for students, it could be an incredible learning partner. Or, let's be honest, a massive shortcut to cheating. The potential is absolutely enormous, but so are the risks.
So, in this explainer, we're going to break down the official UK government position. We'll kick things off with what this tech actually is, then we'll look at the good versus the bad, unpack the new rules for using it, and finally, see what the government's planning for the future.
All right, first things first, let's make sure we're all on the same page about what we're actually talking about here. What exactly is generative AI?
Well, the official definition is pretty straightforward. It's technology that doesn't just analyze data, it creates something totally new from it. You see, it's been fed this mind-bogglingly huge library of information. We're talking the internet, books, articles, you name it. And it uses all of that to generate incredibly human-like responses. And I'm willing to bet you've definitely seen it in action. Tools like ChatGPT, Microsoft's Copilot, Google's Gemini, they're the big names right now. And they can do everything from answering super complex questions to writing computer code and even generating images from just a simple text prompt.
But here's the thing. It's really important to remember this isn't science fiction. AI is already part of our daily lives, right? It's quietly working in the background every single time your email filters out spam or your map app finds you a faster route. Generative AI is just the next, much more powerful step in that evolution.
Which, of course, brings us to the very heart of the debate. Because for every amazing opportunity this technology creates in education, there's a really serious risk that we have to consider. And this right here lays out that central tension perfectly. On one side, the promise is huge. I mean, AI could plan lessons, create classroom resources, and free up teachers to focus on, teaching. It could offer students instant, personalized feedback. But then you look at the other side, and the peril is just as real. The information can be inaccurate, it can be biased, and there are these giant question marks hanging over data privacy and copyright. Now, one of the biggest dangers is something the experts call a hallucination. This is where the AI, with complete and utter confidence, just makes things up. It'll present false information as if it's a solid fact, because its main goal is to create a plausible-sounding answer, not necessarily a truthful one. And these risks really come from some fundamental issues. For starters, the AI isn't trained on the UK curriculum specifically, and it learns from every single thing you type into it, which raises all sorts of privacy red flags. It's gotten so good at mimicking humans that it can create scarily convincing scams. And maybe most alarmingly, it can even be prompted to give instructions for dangerous or harmful activities. So with all those risks, how can schools even think about using this technology? Well, that's where the new rules come in. Let's look at how the government is trying to build a framework for using AI safely and responsibly. The guidance makes one thing absolutely crystal clear. Safety comes first, period. Before any school even considers adopting an AI tool, the number one priority has to be the well-being and protection of its students and staff. So the government breaks this all down into 4 key principles. First, schools have to formally assess the risks of any tool they're thinking of using. Second, they've got to have safeguards in place, like making sure students are closely supervised. Third, and this is a big one, they must protect personal data. And fourth, they have to navigate the very murky waters of copyright. And on that point about data, the guidance is super direct. The default rule should be, do not input personal information into these tools. Why? Well, because a lot of these systems actually store and learn from that data, and once it's in there, you have basically zero control over where it goes or how it's used. This all leads to a really, really tricky question: intellectual property. I mean, when a student uses AI to help with an essay, or a teacher uses it to create a lesson plan, who actually owns the final product?
The rules here get pretty specific. A school can't just take a student's original essay and feed it into an AI model to help train it, not without explicit permission from the student or their parents. And there's also this other risk called secondary infringement. Basically, if the AI generates an image that was trained on a copyrighted photo, the school using that new image could find itself in hot water.
And this brings us to what might be the most crucial point of all. The government is stating, without a doubt, that you can't blame the AI. The teacher, the school leader, the student, the human user is always accountable for the final product. The AI is just a tool. It's not the author. Okay, so this isn't just about setting rules for today. The UK is actively looking ahead, putting money and resources into building the future of AI in its schools. And they're backing this up with actual cash, a £3 million pilot fund to be exact. The goal here is actually really smart. Instead of just relying on these generic AIs that are trained on the whole internet, this money is going to help create high-quality, curriculum-aligned content to train new, custom-built AI tools. The idea is to build a safer, more relevant foundation right from the start, which should help avoid many of those risks we just talked about. And there's already a lot going on. The Oak National Academy has launched an AI lesson assistant for teachers called Isla. The government is also developing new training packages and online toolkits for educators. Plus, they're setting up an evidence board to figure out which tools actually work. And Ofsted is studying the schools that are already ahead of the curve.
So if you had to boil the UK's official stance down to a single sentence, it would be this: cautiously optimistic. They absolutely see the incredible potential, but they're moving forward carefully, with a huge emphasis on safety, on ethics, and on making sure this technology actually serves education, and not the other way around.
Which really leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? This technology is only going to get smarter and more powerful. As it becomes a permanent part of the classroom, the real challenge for all of us is going to be figuring out how to use it not just to make things easier, but to make our students smarter, more creative, and more critical thinkers.